Hold that just like that. Hold it strong. Ready?
What the? Oh my gosh! You didn't warn me!
All right, it is time for us to say goodbye to our Tesla Model X that we've had about a year and a half. We got it March 2022, and it's now August of 2023. And Carvana is coming tomorrow to pick it up and sell it, and we're going to sell it to them. And so we're just going to talk to you about what we're going to miss, the reasons we're glad it's going away, and kind of what we're doing next. So let's start with you, because this was your car. You drove it way more than me. This is my wife, Stephanie. I'm Chris. And why don't we start with the things that you're going to miss about it that you really liked, that she's going to get a Model Y, spoiler alert, and what you're going to miss going from an X to a Y.
I'm going to miss the yoke. I'm going to miss...
That's going to be a controversial one.
Well,
but it's true.
I don't like your yoke.
Yeah, right.
But I do like this one. And I'm going to miss stalkless. I've gotten so lazy because, I mean, everything is right there.
Yeah, so you like the capacitive buttons.
Yes.
Okay, and the yoke. Yeah, a lot of people don't like those, which that's fine, I don't care. I know, well, whatever, I don't know. So that's pretty interesting. So from like a driving perspective, those are the main things you're going to miss. What about like other features of the car?
I'm going to miss, honestly, that screen.
No, keep going. Oh, yeah, the driver display.
Yeah, it's nice to have like the miles per hour and everything right there in front of me and the directions right there in front of me without having to constantly look over at the center screen. So I notice when I drive your car, it's kind of like, it takes me a second to be like, oh yeah, to check my speed, I have to look over this way.
Right. I really enjoy this driver display too, mostly because it makes the main display bigger because there's less information on the main display. So on the 3 and Y, all your info is here, taking up like a fourth of your screen almost. Whereas on the X, all that is off to the side and you get this huge center screen to do all your other stuff. So not only is the screen in the X bigger, there's more real estate on the bigger screen. So yeah, I agree with that. So in terms of driving, those are all the driving parts. What about like acceleration? Do you care about that? Because the Y will be a bit slower.
I don't care about that. I notice the difference, but I mean, I don't need it.
Yeah. Okay. So anything
it's better than a gas car.
Well, yeah.
I'm happy with electric in general.
Sure. Yeah. So then, yeah, driving wise, like anything else, like from being in the driver's seat.
It's so smooth, and the suspension is amazing. But I've heard that the new Y is going to be nice too.
Yep.
The difference in your car to this one, like, yeah, I noticed just on the dirt road. Yours is definitely a little like bumpier, but it's not something I would pay 50 grand more for.
Yeah, double the price of the vehicle. Yeah, that's like kind of the biggest thing here.
I'm gonna miss the space in general. Just there's so much space in this car. I have a love-hate relationship with the Falcon Wing doors. I like them in the rain when I'm putting the kids in the car seats because they give you a little shield, and it's just nice like having all of that headspace and being able to like get the kids in and out of the car and for them to easily climb in and out. There's just a lot of room with them. I'm gonna miss being able to control them from my phone and being
the doors, like control the doors.
Yeah,
from your phone.
Being like, okay, kids, doors are open, get in the car.
Yeah,
and also not ever worrying that when they open the doors, they're going to hit the car next to us. That's going to be tough.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So Falcon Wing doors. Yep. I agree with that. All right. What else can you think of for your positives about the X that you're going to miss moving to a Y?
I mean, it's a great car. I mean,
okay. Yeah. So nothing else specifically?
No, it's the nicest car that I've ever had. Ever driven
yeah, by far.
Nicest car I probably will ever own. So
probably, yeah.
It's been wonderful driving it.
Yeah. So for me, positives that I'm gonna miss about the X, I do love the Falcon Wing doors. I really do. They're great for the kids. They give you so much room when you're getting in and out of the car, trying to put stuff in or whatever. The amount of space is great to be able to throw stuff back there. We always keep the third row. I mean, they're up right now just for the thing tomorrow, but we always keep the third row down unless someone's using it. And so there's so much room back there. And then like in between the two captain's chairs in the middle, we would put, like on road trips, we'd put our cooler there. and it was just a good spot to have a cooler. You know, it's a plugged-in cooler, so it keeps all your food cold like the whole trip. So that was really nice. I will miss the driver's display. I do like the capacitive buttons, but going back to the stock, I don't miss them that much. But sometimes when I go back to my Y, I'll like reach for them like initially instead of the stock. But I do like those. Driver's display, like I said, and the car is so comfortable, and there's so much like headroom and everything. Not in the Y, it has plenty of headroom as well, but the X is a little bit more. So I'll miss those things. And just kind of the luxury of the whole thing. You know, it's a super expensive car, and I've said many times it's not worth double a Y value-wise. But like, if money is no object, then this is definitely the car I'd pick over Model Y, just because of those bells and whistles. Automatic doors are so nice when I'm in here, and I can control the doors from the screen. That's usually how I do it. I open the doors, and then I get out and get the kids. You know, so the doors are already open. Or like if I have somebody walking up to the car, I'll like click the button on the screen, open the door for them. That, you know, that kind of stuff is really cool. So again, not worth double the price of a vehicle, but I do like that stuff and I'll miss it. Also, for positives, I'm going to miss the cooled seats in this car. I absolutely love them. I know you don't even use them, but I use them.
I've used them a few times, but
even when it's like 40 degrees out, I still use them. They feel so good.
And he leaves them on.
Oh, yeah, turn them
so
off.
the next morning,
they're always full blast when I use them.
The next morning, they stay on.
Yeah, because I would use them then too.
No, it's just like automatically they come on.
Yeah.
So it's like a chilly morning, and then I'm loading the kids in the car, and the seats are just like blasting cold. So then when I get in and I sit down, my butt freezes, and I have to turn it off. And I'm not gonna miss that.
No, yeah, exactly.
I am going to miss hitting the brake and the door shutting.
Oh yes,
it's just.
It sounds silly if you're not used to it. But once you get used to it, it's so nice.
Like, I get in the car, I just hit the brake pedal, and then I just swipe the screen, and boom. Like, I don't even have to swipe the screen. Right. You can just hit the brake again, and then it'll be like, you're ready to drive, and just start driving. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, because it does the auto shifting it picks forward and reverse. It's correct, you know, maybe 80% of the time. So sometimes you got to fix it, but yeah, most of the time it's so seamless. I mean, they really did think out this design really well. Yeah. I mean, everything is so seamless in that way. It's a nice car. But what you said about the luxury of it and how that's why you would want it, I'm almost like the opposite because, I don't know, I like roll up to Target and I'm in this Model X and, you know, I'm like, oh, there's all these people walking by, but I got to open the doors to get the kids. So then let's move on to the negatives. These are the bad things about the Model X. That's perfect segue that we're happy. We're kind of glad to dump it, honestly, because of these things. So go ahead and go first. I agree with this one totally. That's my love-hate relationship with the Falcon Wing doors. They're so flashy. They draw a lot of attention, and I'm not an attention-seeking person. Sure. And I don't know, like I feel like if certain people who know me, like see me in this car, they make certain judgments then about me. And I don't know, think I'm like a snooty rich person, but I'm not. And I mean, well, and when we were on our road trip to Florida, I remember specifically one of the stops we made, it was like not the nicest area. And I honestly hated opening the Falcon Wing doors because there were just a lot of people around. And, you know, nothing happened, but it's like, this is not the place I want to be drawing attention. I'm like with my wife and 2 little daughters. And I just was like, let's go really fast because I like want to get out of here. And everybody looks when you open them. And I agree. I hate that aspect of them. You hear, like, especially if there are kids around, guaranteed you're going to hear, look at the doors, Mom. It's almost every time if people are around. I mean, it's like 90% of the time somebody says something. So, which, you know, sometimes it's fun and leads to a conversation. I would say most people are very nice about it and like, whoa, what, how do you like those doors? And what is this car? But I don't like drawing attention to myself. That's all. So it'll be nice just to be like in a humble Model Y. yeah, exactly. I know that's still like a really nice car. It's still a really nice car. Don't get us wrong. But just to the naked eye. Right. It just looks like a car. Yeah. All right. So what else? What other things are you going to be glad to get rid of that are like a burden or you don't like? This is weird, but at just the stage that our kids are at, when they get in the car, there's too much space for them because I'm like, get in your seat, let's go. And they're like doing like a dance back there. They're like in the middle playing with each other. They're pushing all the buttons back there on the screen. Oh, yeah, that's been getting annoying lately. they climb through the back because we keep those back seats down, and they climb back there, and like there's just like too much room for them, and I'm like, get in your car seat, you know. So it will be nice in the Y for them just have that bench, and oh, no room for you, and if you try to stand up, you're going to bump your head and you're squished, and just get in the seat. And they're really at the perfect age for this transition because they just are like, whoa, we're getting a new car. They don't care that it's smaller. They don't care about the Falcon Wing doors and how cool they look. Whereas like if they were like 7 or 8, they'd probably be like, these are sweet. And so they're not going to notice the change as much, which is good for them. But it's going to be a lot smaller back there, but they're going to be more contained.
Right, for sure. Yeah, that's been getting annoying, the screen. I've noticed when I put them in, especially our older daughter, she always is. Well, no, both of them. Both of them are doing it now.
That's because the younger one copies.
Yeah, exactly.
Her.
So they go and they push everything and they mess up the climate. And I'm like, we're trying to go, like, get in your seat. So that would be very nice to not have all those bells and whistles back there because they don't need them. And yes, they like to, I can walk back there. It's so tall and there's so much room. I can like hunched over, walk around back there. It's crazy.
They truly like play and dance, like, and spin in circles back there when I'm trying to go somewhere.
Right. All right. What else? That's it? Oh, okay. Well, here's mine. I got a couple. Car payment, number one, it's super expensive. And I might talk about this later. I mean, I know people are super interested in maybe, I'm going to do a video about the Carvana experience. Maybe I'll talk about it then or in the Model Y video. I don't know. But if you want to know about the finance part, let me know in the comments and we'll do that in the future. But the car payment for the Y is going to be less than half of what it is for the X. So
Cybertruck money.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to end up with the Cybertruck eventually. So we're going to have 2 Ys for a while, and we're going to take advantage of the full self-driving transfer. That's pretty much for another video, but full self-driving will go to Stephanie's Y, and then I will trade my Y for the Cybertruck when it comes out, and then hopefully we'll be done trading cars. So, but about this vehicle. So yeah, seriously. Yeah, I never would have expected all these crazy things we've done. Car payment, half. So that's great. Service. This car, as you know, I've made videos about it. I am not shy about complaining about the service. This car needs the first 9 months of ownership. We were taking it every other month. Now, the funny thing about that is I very quickly, and I think you too, forget about it when nothing's wrong. So I get annoyed, I take it to service, and it's never been anything that stopped the car from driving. It's always been reliable, but you can look at your phone, it's fine.
Well, I'm thinking of things that I want to write them down.
Good. So it's never been anything that's made the car unreliable, but like one of the Falcon Wing doors was squeaky, and we took it to service, and there were some other things. And then they didn't even fix it. So it was still squeaky. Then we took it back to service, and they fixed it. Until now. It just started squeaking again. Can you hear this squeaking? Yeah. So it's like, oh my gosh, this thing has needed service so much. Whereas my Model Y, in over 2 years, I think I've had service 1 time on it. You know,
and all the crazy messages that kept popping up, like the steering assist going out.
Yeah, there were just so many weird. And again, it's always been reliable. It's never stranded us or anything. But there was just so many weird little service issues. But you still have to take it in, and they were
having to replace the tires. They cost a fortune.
Exactly.
This
Yeah.
car,
right. Mobile service wasn't able to fix those things, so that's huge. Tires, everything about the car, because it's an expensive car, is more expensive. Now, it's been under warranty the whole time, but we had one of the back tires was destroyed by a nail. It's not Tesla's fault. It's not the car's fault. It just happened. And then
remember the belt came loose from the inside, they said.
No. He said when we hit a nail, it destroyed the tire, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't the tire's fault. At first, it sounded like it was, but he said that the nail caused this damage.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and then so the other tire, because it's staggered, so the front tires are smaller than the rear tires, which is its own annoyance. And the other back tire was worn enough that they were like, you really should get 2 new ones. And I know I could have not listened to them, but I did. And it was almost $1,000 for 2 tires in the back, which is ridiculous. So Model Y, you can find much cheaper tires. So that's another thing. All right, so now your negatives. Yeah, the rest that you have.
This is a negative that I'm happy to be done with is the white seats.
Right? Yeah, you don't like them.
I was so excited for them, but they stress me out because they do get dirty, and I haven't been able to find a way to clean them. I've tried all the tips and tricks that all the Tesla people have shared with me, and the driver's seat, like I have not been able to get some of the marking. Like it's not even like dirt. It's just like worn. Yeah, so
yeah, that's pretty rare.
Like
because
even right now, we're putting our elbows on the center console, which is white, and
which is what it's for.
And I'm like, I'm gonna like leave you know,
Yeah,
marks
which
on
is
it.
rare because you don't normally hear that from people. They have, you know, people say, "Oh, I can clean the white seats, no problem." And I think in my Y, I can clean them still, right?
No, your driver's seat
Really?
has,
There's something?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because you got a detail, but they still couldn't get it up.
I don't remember that. All right, I'll have to try again because I mean, I need to clean them right now anyway. But yes, that is something you don't like. And even it wasn't even just the fact that she couldn't clean them, whatever's wrong with it right now. It was also when you could clean them, it was just you didn't have time because you got 2 kids and you're busy all the time. And so even if it is something just wiping off and it takes a few minutes, you just don't have the time to do that all the time. And like, sure, black seats get dirty too, and you should clean your seats, but you can't see it, so you don't care as much. It's just like kind of a fact of how it is. And then what was you had one more?
Yeah, just we talked about how we love how much space is in this car. Like, it's the perfect road trip car. And we have family in Florida. You know, that's quite a big trip. Need a lot of things because we have small kids. If we don't have the Cybertruck, by the time we take another road trip, we have found solutions for that with the Y, like getting the overhead,
the roof rails, and putting storage up there,
and
which you can't even do with the X. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So that was my one big concern when we talked about, you know, trading in the X, was like, how are we?
Yeah, fit everything.
How are we going to travel?
Right.
Long distance like that with all the stuff that we need? But there are solutions for that.
All right, so let's talk about what's next. Stephanie is going to get a Model Y. So we ordered the Model Y. We did this whole trade-in. Carvana gave us a pretty good deal. So I took it. We went with that. It was like 20 grand more than 20 grand more than Tesla offered, which was crazy. And we ordered the Model X before the price increases. So even today, even though with the prices going back down, we paid less than what this car costs today. So as far as the trade-in goes, it's a pretty decent deal and everything. But we ordered Stephanie a long-range Model Y. I thought about getting a 4680 standard range, but it's only like $3,000 less. And it's like, there's no point. There's more range in the long range one, and we can get acceleration boost now that they have acceleration boost with the credits. It'll bring that acceleration a little closer to what the Model X is. It won't be as good, but it'll be closer. And then we're also doing the full self-driving transfer. So when we ordered the Model Y, that wasn't even a thing, that didn't exist. And when it got announced and we learned you don't have to trade your car in, it was like, well, let's move full self-driving from my old car to this new car that will hopefully have a very long time. So that made perfect sense. So, well, full self-driving on that car, and I can do testing because it's going to be hardware 4. So I can do full self-driving testing on hardware 4 whenever it comes out. Black interior is great, and we picked the 7-seat option, which I've already checked out the 7 seats, and everyone that complains, like when I announced it online, I'm getting the 7 seat, they're like, oh, like a ton of people were like, it's too small, nobody fits back there. Yeah, all those people didn't own it. And then a bunch of people responded, they said, oh, we're so happy we got 7 seat. Pretty much everyone. I saw one person that still said it sucks, but a ton of people that actually own the 7 seat said they love it for the same thing we would use it for, the occasional little trip where you need another seat or two. I mean, that's it. And we have 2 kids. They're young. They'll have friends. We could take all the kids to get ice cream or whatever down the road. It's perfect size for kids. They're not going to be in there for an hour or anything, and it'll work really well. So we're excited for that. It'll be really nice. We are not excited that it doesn't have ultrasonic sensors. So like summon and stuff isn't going to work, which is really stupid. But people have been saying the vision stuff is getting better. So is there anything else about the Y you're like excited for over the X, or is it pretty much just like no more service? That's probably the biggest thing for you. Easier to park. You always complain about parking this car.
I have the same issue with your car, but I think
okay.
I finally got it down. You
Okay.
know, it only took a year. But no, I'm happy to have a Y. Like, it's still an amazing car. Like, I still feel extremely fortunate to be able to have a Model Y, to be able to have an electric car in general. Like, that's really my dream, is just to never go back to a gas car.
Yeah, well, that was, here's the last thing I'll mention. That was kind of the biggest part of all this. Like, yep, we're getting another Tesla. We've had all the Teslas. We haven't had an S, but we've had a bunch of Teslas, and it's like, what about something else? And we very briefly talked about it like a long time ago. But, you know, I look around and there's not really like a good option. Like, if you're being really practical, there's not a great other option outside of Tesla. There are other options, and if you want one of those, you could choose them. But when you really boil it down to the specs, the features, the price, it's hard not to just get a Model Y. A Mach-E is way more expensive. The new Chevy, what are they? The Blazer, they have the Blazer EV or something, way more expensive. You probably can't get it right now anyway, and less range. It's just, there's really no other good option. Like, we talked about the Rivian R1S. You didn't even seem to like it that much, and it's still pretty expensive. It's cheaper than this car, but you can't get it. They said if you order today, you can expect delivery sometime in 2024. Like, what does that even mean? So like, that's not an option today. So like, Model Y.
Well, there's a reason why the Model Y is the #1 selling car.
Right? Yeah,
So
exactly. Because
of everything you just said.
yeah, when you boil it all down, if you want something else, you can get it, but you're sacrificing things that you don't with the Model Y. So overall, we're excited. I mean, we are very grateful that we had the opportunity to ever drive this car.
Yes.
It was always kind of like a dream car, and never thought we would ever be able to own it. But thanks to, you know, viewers like you and some other cool things, we owned it for a bit of time. And now we're going to trade it. We'll get a tax credit for the new Y, which helps a lot, actually. That was a big factor in the decision as well. And we'll have lots of adventures and reviews in the new Model Y and comparing it to the old one and all that. So if you have any questions, leave those down below. Anything else you want to finish with? Or you all good? You said your piece. You're ready for this car to disappear tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll miss it. I'm trying not to think about it too much.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely going to miss it. But overall, it's a good decision.
Oh, it's definitely a good decision. I just keep bringing myself back to the thought of like how lucky we were, to have this car for that 1.5 years, and
right,
you know, it's been a good experience overall.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's what I was saying with the service thing. Not to like keep going on too much, but the service was annoying. But whenever it wasn't in service, I didn't think about it. I forgot because I like the car so much. Yeah. So, but okay, if you have any questions, leave them down below. We'll both answer those for you, and you will see me and maybe Stephanie in the next video. I'm thrilled and like super humbled to like be in a car like this, like to have a car like this. It's really amazing.